Hi, my name is Scott Edwards, and this is my informative speech on World War II. My three main points of discussion will be the European front against Germany and Italy, the Pacific front against Japan, and the home front, and the impact of the war on the American people. A brief introduction to the European front. In Germany in the early 1940s, Adolf Hitler was their leader, and they had a Nazi regime. They were invading other countries such as Czechoslovakia and Austria, slashing and burning as they went, killing many innocent civilians. Over 6 million Jews were killed during World War II thanks to the Nazis. In Italy, they were led by Benito Mussolini, and they had a fascist regime. They were invading countries such as Ethiopia, using many deadly bombs such as gas bombs. Both of these countries were very tyrannical, and this made other countries such as the British, France, and USA very uncomfortable. The USA wanted to remain an isolationist country and not get into the European affairs. But once the bombing of Pearl Harbor occurred, they were thrust into the war, as 99% of Americans wanted to fight against the Japanese. Yet only about half Americans wanted to fight in the European affairs. At this time, Franklin D. Roosevelt was president during the Great Depression, and he had to issue this statement about the war. Today we are faced with the preeminent fact that, if civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationships, the ability of all peoples of all kinds to live together and work together in the same world at peace, thus reaffirming that the USA wanted to remain an isolationist country, yet at the same time they wanted to bring an end to the tyrannical run of Hitler and Mussolini. From the west, the Americans and British were pushing the Germans back through France. This is where the Battle of Normandy Beach occurred. It was one of the bloodiest battles of World War II, as many Americans lost their lives, forcing the Germans out. If the Germans would have won this battle, they could have pushed through the English Channel and into England, and this would have been a major turning point in the war for the Axis powers. From the east, the Russians are pushing the Germans back to Berlin. Eventually, the USA, British, France, and Russians closed in on the Germans in Berlin, ending the war. In Italy, Mussolini also surrendered because they had very little power left to defend against Russia, France, England, and the USA. This was the end of the European front, but not the Pacific front. A brief introduction to the Pacific front. At this time, Japan was attacking countries such as China, using many deadly bombs, such as the way Italy was against Ethiopia. The Japanese launched a surprise attack on the Americans at Pearl Harbor, taking out a whole American fleet and killing many innocent civilians, and also killing many soldiers. In America at this time, the citizenship of many Japanese Americans were renounced. Many Americans also joined the cause, helping build armories and going to work in steel factories. Women in this time also helped out, while their husbands were off at war fighting. In response to the bombing at Pearl Harbor, Harry S. Truman decided to drop the atom bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. First on Hiroshima, killing many innocent civilians. Some of those civilians fled to Nagasaki, but unfortunately for them, Truman also ordered a strike on Nagasaki, killing many innocent civilians once again. This was a questionable act by the American government. Many American civilians wanted us to respond by the attacks at Pearl Harbor, but was this the right way? Because of Pearl Harbor, many Americans also joined the cause, joining up in steel factories. Women gained the right to vote around this time, and they were also helping out their husbands by also taking over their jobs, watching over the homes, and doing other things. Unfortunately, Franklin Roosevelt died before he could see the surrender of Germany at this time, so Harry S. Truman was put into office. I hope my presentation on the American role in World War II was enjoyable. You should now know more about the American role and viewpoint in the European front, the Pacific front, and the home front. Now you also know what the American opinion was towards each area of the war and how Americans contributed to the war back at home. Thank you.